Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's your favorite Bawalao. At least I hope so. Awo Rumila Odileke. Hey, just want to come at you because I wanted to kind of talk to you about a topic. And the reason why this topic is even coming up is because I do extensive research, and whenever I get into an enigma where there's a lot of crosses of information, then I dig harder and deeper. And finally, I was able to kind of come together about the topic that is Lo Imbi. The Imbi, the twins, the children of Chango and Oshun, that was brought down by divinity, blessed to Oshun, Yaololde, by Olofin's hands, which caused a lot of controversy, but created probably one of the strongest and one of the most known patakis there is, which is how the Ibejis defeated Abita, the devil himself, El Diablo. The reason why I say it's very extensive when you talk about the Ibejis is because the way the story begins, and there's so many different Oduns that talk about it. There's Oduns within the Dilegun, there's Oduns in Ifa. I'm a Bawalao, I'm going to tell you Ifa. Okay? In Ifa, we recognize that Chango and Oshun lived in their own terrain at a certain point in time. In a time where twins were never known. Nobody knew about twins. Nobody even knew the concept of how twins were made. When life happened and God decided that it was time for twins to be born, Olofi blessed Oshun with Lo Ibejis. Okay, what happens then? Immaculate conception, right? What would you do if it was in your house and your wife had an immaculate conception, or your significant other had an immaculate conception? The first thing we do is we say, no, if it's not my kid, it's somebody else's kid. So we automatically think infidelity. And that's what happened. That was the assumption that was made. That was the embarrassment of Oshun. Oshun got rid of the Ibejis, heartbroken and all, knew she needed to remove the Ibejis from Chango. Chango's rage, Chango's anger, that she cheated on him, because that's the thought process he was in, and Chango being Chango, well, it is what it is. So, what ended up happening in that story, as we fast forward, is that we begin to recognize that the Ibejis are now being raised by Oya. Okay? The mother of Oshun now being raised by Oya based on an embarrassment, based on an issue that she could not resolve with Chango, the father, so that he can recognize that those were his kids. Olofi blessed their marriage with the Ibejis. Olofi touched those kids before they were even born. These kids are important. So important that when Oya started to raise them, she began to raise them in the land of the Eguns, the secrets of the Eguns. Okay? Lo Ibejis, at a certain point in time, in a different chapter, in a different Odun, are now with Oya. But now they're Ibejis Odun. Okay? Because they learned the secrets of the other side. And it was Oya, through help with Olofi, was able to get through to Chango and explain that those were his kids. Because if you remember closely anything about Chango, in Chango's stories, his current, his force, is to be messed with when you talk about the muertes. You talk about the dead, the Eguns. You know, Oya used that to her advantage, so that he did the right thing and recognized his kids. So now he recognized his kids. They're coming down from the other land between Olorun and being raised with the Eguns, with Oya. There's a lot of different connections in there. But now he brings them back to earth, to the terrain. Now, not only are they Ibi Orun, not only are they now recognized as basically princes of the king Chango, okay? It was only then that they began to learn who they truly were. But these kids, these Ibejis, came down with a filth. And when I say that, it's because Osolbo is something that we all live with. Osolbo is something that's always going to be around us. And those kids were born being abandoned by their mom, who was heartbroken, okay? With a stigma that those kids were born out of infidelity. There was a lot that was going on. And when we talk about the Ibejis, we'd be very, very neglectful if we didn't mention EDU. EDU was another immaculate conception that Oshun had when Oshun was petitioning Olofi to show the world that, hey, look, I didn't cheat on my husband. I'm having children, but I'm having children not out of wedlock, out of blessing. And Olofi granted her that. And that's where the third child comes in, EDU, a brother to the twins. EDU's story is very unique. But the reason I mention this is because when the Ibejis come down, it's EDU who at that point in time was able to wipe the Osolbo clean, wipe the tables clean, because EDU, okay, with the help of Ifa, were able to go to Yemaya, who knew the secrets to make this situation go away. So therefore, now it's Yemaya who is now raising these kids up, making them the men that they are, which are ultimately gonna defeat the devil, make him dance, and defeat him. The Ibejis are a very powerful entity. The Ibejis are divine on their own. Think about it. The Ibejis have the secret. They're touched by Olofi through Oshun, raised by Oya, secrets of Orun. Now they have the secrets of Yemaya through the help of Ifa, and they defeat El Diablo. You cannot deny that the Ibejis are a force to be reckoned with. You cannot deny that the Ibejis are part of Orun. They're part of that society, or have the same power. You cannot deny that they're not touched by Yemaya and Chango and Oya. Oshun being the mother and Chango being the father. The Ibejis have a beautiful story, and it was one that I wanted to share because it took me a very long time to work out. At the end, their story, the Oduns, the spider web of stories and connections that the Ibejis have. So with that said, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to just tell you, Iburu, Iboya Bucheche, give me a like, give me a share, ask me questions, because I'm not giving you these stories for the sense of giving it to you, but I'm giving you these stories because they're important. And when we talk about Bawalaos Nifa, we're talking about making patakis come together so you can make a reality through the spirituality of our faith. Because through these patakis and through these oduns is how we make ceremonies lift us up in enlightenment. We gotta do right, and we gotta spread the good word. Even I was confused at one point with the Ibejis, okay, and I had to be corrected. And I give thanks to my other brothers who were actually starting to guide me, and I was able to see another Olu who was able to kind of guide me further, and I was able to do my own reading and my own research. but the Ibejis. What a beautiful story. And if you're a daughter of Oshun, if you're crowned Oshun, you're a mom. You're a mom to the Ibejis. You should have Ibejis. And you should give thanks to Oya because Oya raised them. And then you should give thanks to Yemaya because Yemaya completed their, we'll call it the manhood training. Which at that point they were able to defeat the devil himself. We got to remember these stories because they all mean something. Because if I was Hijo de Oshun and I was crowned Oshun, I would want my Imawas and I would like to feed them. And not only feed them, but I would also like to feed them along with Chango, the dad. Maybe feed them with Oya, maybe feed them with Yemaya. Because those things are important. So with that said, we got to understand these stories and we got to understand why these stories are important. And we got to remember, stick to the traditions. And no one knows it all. So it's very important that we all learn from each other. So with that said, Iburu, Iboya, Ibucheche, Cyberland, much love to you guys all.